Hello. Hello. What's going on? It's your boy is the 33 welcoming you into tonight's four big bouts here in the road to the showdown. As I mentioned, four matches. Let's just go through the card tonight quickly. Up first, it's Julia versus Roxanne Perez in arguably a very cool, even matchup from there. Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan. After that, Kurt Angle, Will Ospreay. And then to main event the show, it's Battle of the Samoans, Smo Joe versus The Rock. A big show, as we say. Let us move towards the first bout already. It's going to be Julia versus Roxanne here tonight, and I don't know how this one will go. It's either way sort of thing, but as we ready ourselves here for this matchup, we're going into the breakdown arena. And we're already on the way here tonight. As we welcome the former television champion out first.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making her way to the ring from Laredo, Texas, Roxanne Perez.
Roxanne is here to make her statement known after losing her opening bout here in the tournament. That was at the start of the week. Actually, I'm telling a lie. It was against Michelle McCool 2 days ago. She's coming into this one looking to bounce back against Julia, who was victorious in her opening bout, which I believe also happened a couple of days ago. So, who will take... Can Julia basically take a demanding lead in the teal division? Let's find out. She makes her presence known here tonight.
And her opponent from Tokyo, Japan, Julia.
Both these stars in real life have gone toe to toe, but now they meet up once again. I believe facing off at Money in the Bank. That's going to be a pretty interesting bout there, to say the least. But right now, Julia, one of the rising stars here in IPW, put on a good performance during Locked In. Tonight, she's coming into this match looking to maintain form and get up higher in the standings of the division. As we ready ourselves, the crowd behind Julia to kick us off here tonight. We're underway. The referee for this one is Red Shoes Kevin. As these two women tie up, Perez takes early advantage, comes through with a cheap slap, the chop, forces Julia in the corner. Now Roxanne over and down with the Japanese sensation. But we look at this matchup. Obviously, prior bouts have to be taken into consideration. Obviously, well, Roxanne couple days ago, faced Michelle McCool. Obviously, Hall of Famer, legend of the game. A very difficult opponent to face. Julia had an easier bout against Jasmine Nix. That obviously favors Julia quite heavily. And while we'll certainly see some, I'd say, upsets in this tournament, we didn't actually get any when in these two stars opening bouts of the tournament. Now, as we turn our attention back to the match, both women jockeying for position. Julia into the side headlock, applying pressure to Roxanne, wrenching down in this position, just wearing Roxanne out. Roxanne manages to push off Julia and land a nice drop kick there. Goes for the pin, but a quick kick out there from Julia before a one's even scored. These two women, very similar in styles, I feel. Julia, not as high risk as what Roxanne can do, but they both have their standing finishes, both like suplexes. And as a whole, I'd say we're even across the board between these two former NXT Women's Champions. Julia calls Roxanne back to her feet. Nice kick there to bust open Roxanne. And that's something we're seeing quite a bit in this tournament, is our stars getting busted open. And we already know it is a 28-day consecutive tournament. Obviously, we have the break week next week. But in the build-up, every match, you don't really get a break. You're always going to be fighting. You've got roughly 2 matches a week in the current setup. And that is a very hard schedule to maintain. Now, some stars obviously will be competing in their second match a week on Monday, where they'll have had more time to prepare and go towards the next matchup for themselves. As we turn our attention back to this match, Julia spinning around, sit out, slam there to bring Roxanne to the mat. A quick 2 in her favor, followed up with a knee. Falls into the cover. Could this be it? No, Roxanne kicks out in the nick of time. Julia mounting Roxanne to drop a load of punches. Add in a bit of a paintbrushing slap there to end it off as well. A headbutt from Julia. Drops Roxanne. Wrenching at the arms and stomping down. Julia doing good here. Gut wrench. Just tossed there. Maintaining the pressure on Roxanne. Hammerlock suplex. Oh my word. Was not expecting to see that here tonight. But Julia connecting in fashion. She doesn't manage to hit there though. And Roxanne, Des Perez, looking to capitalize on the mistake. Drags Julia towards the center of the ring. The boot caught. The knee connects. Julia sending Roxanne into the ropes. Tries to connect with a big forearm but cannot do so. Roxanne, implant buster. dropping Julia down. And I think we're going to potentially see maybe a finisher from Roxanne, but it's caught. And Julia capitalizing up and down with the brain buster. Into the pin goes Roxanne. 2 count, and then no, not the 3. Invisible frustration being shown by Julia. Continuing the pressure now is Julia. She goes up top, tries to go for the moon stomp, but cannot connect. Instead, Roxanne sent her running, I should say. Misses with a drop kick, instead Julia punishing, taunting. Give me 10 seconds to sort something, because I need to go quick. Apologies. Don't know what happened there. Anyway, let's focus back in on the match. Julia in control. Headbutt. Dropping Roxanne. And you can see the blood stains across the side of the face there of Roxanne. It's trickling down past the eye. Julia now takes the action to the outside. And the blood marks being dripped across the floor. Roxanne busted open pretty badly. Gonna potentially feel more punishment here as she's slammed down to the mat. With that bomb. Roxanne tossed back into the ring. Julia into the pin. She's rushing for the victory. Is it enough for the dub? No, it isn't just yet. Roxanne kicks out in time. But for how much longer does she actually have? Kicks out of that. Connects with a combo. Brings Julia down to the mat. Roxanne's fired up. Catches the boot of Julia. A punch, and now a second. Drops Julia down, and now Roxanne's calling. Setting Julia up for pop. Rocks into the pin. Is this it? No. Both women surviving on pure instinct, but I think Roxanne, she smells the blood in the water. Sends Julia running. Arm drag. Brings down the Japanese sensation. Roxanne is cooking right now. Looking to maybe bust open Julia as our ring covered in blood from Roxanne. Look how much is coming off the side of her face there. It's, oh my word, it's a pretty bad cut. You've got 2 spots that are just trickling red. Speaking of trickling red, so is Julia now. A bloody opener to tonight's show. Both women giving it their all. The Meteora misses. Julia misses with her own boot. But the second one comes through. And she's just stomping a mud hole into Roxanne's chest there. Brings her back to her feet and a combination comes through. Julia in the corner brings Roxanne to the top rope. We expected this to be close. We expected a lot of action. As Julia, massive avalanche suplex from the top rope. But she's caught. Pop rocks connecting. Roxanne from out of nowhere. Oh, nearly Stole it. Julia crawling to the corner. Roxanne blows her a kiss. Comes charging in with that just hip attack. The referee getting in the way now of this one, but who cares? This match has had a lot of action. Julia catches the boot of Roxanne, connecting with the knee. A slap misses. Roxanne capitalizing, sending Julia running. Arm drag, takedown. And Roxanne up and over. Rings and stand locked in, but a rope break called there by our referee, Kevin. So Roxanne's going to have to think of something else, and she gets a bit froggy with it. And that is her solution to the situation. Finally calling Julia back to her feet. Grabs a hold of her. Takes her into the corner where she busted her open. And now, trying to set her up for something, she drops her down to the mat. Sat in the apron. Roxanne, I thought was going to come charging in. Instead, opts to just toss Julia. Change up the strategy is the name of the game. And she's set up for Pop Rocks again. The third time. Is it the charm? Yes, it is. As Roxanne Perez secures a big victory here tonight. The early goings were very much controlled by Julia. But with this result, Roxanne ties up the series, ties the scores on the doors up with Julia. 3 points for both of them, which means that the likes of Fallon Henley, Michelle McCool, and Io Sky can, and potentially will, secure control of this league. One Star's failed in that regard tonight. Will a second do the same? We will have to see, because our second bout here tonight is in the Gold League. Liv Morgan looking to take firm control of the Gold League if she can get past Lam Primiera, Stephanie Vaquer. Not an easy footing for either woman here.
Here is your winner, Roxanne Perez.
Oh my word, look how bloody Roxanne got after that bout. Busted open beyond belief. Blood trickling down her body, across her face. This is gruesome. Thankfully for her, her next bout is next week, where she will be fighting on Friday. Oh, against Natalia. A battle of television champions there. Wow, I just realized Roxanne's getting 2 Friday matches. That's kind of cool. But, yeah. Let's move into bout numero 2. Roxanne winning here. Will Stephanie do the same? And we know it's interesting, actually, because both these women, with a W, will take first place in the league. And it's interesting to say that, because Stephanie obviously lost via countout last week. Well, earlier in the week. And that is a surprising result, all things considered. But, she's still competitive. Her opponent, realistically, is hard to deal with. We already saw her against Rhea. Rhea was forced to get the count-out victory against her. Liv Morgan, I'd say, on a similar level to Rhea. Will she have to resort to the same dirty strategies? We will have to see as we're heading now to our second bout of the evening. Live from the Breakdown Arena. From Fort Worth, Texas. The metal music begins as La Primera makes her way out to the arena.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making her way to the ring from San Fernando, Chile, Stephanie
Vakir in the mood to go above and beyond for victory. I would say in the Gold League, Stephanie Vakir's run to, well, her run is probably one of the most difficult to go through. She's not starting with the easy opponents. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, and then Mandy Rose. That is a trio of talent that she has to get through. But then again, the Gold League, we've mentioned most even league of them all. No one really is favorable.
representing the Judgment Day from Elmwood Park, New Jersey, Liv Morgan.
Anywho, let's look at Liv Morgan. Morgan victorious in her opener on Tuesday against Alexa Bliss. And Morgan, we've said before, is just someone who will drop you with an Oblivion, because she will constantly spam that maneuver given the chance. We saw it at Locked In. Tonight, she's looking to spam it to win here against La Primera. Can she do so? We'll have to see as we're underway. And Morgan quickly out the gates, dropping Stephanie to the mat. Morgan, obviously a talented wrestler. Overall, I would say probably of the talent in IPW, if you look at the top tier caliber stars, one of the very few who's yet to have a title match in IPW. The only other woman I would say in that same ballpark as her would be Bayley and Io Sky. Those two world champions outright. Neither have had a real chance to face Fallon Henley. Well, we will know. Sometime in this tournament we will see Io versus Fallon. That is going to be a good matchup. I'm actually trying to check my record. It is next, well, in the following week of action, we'll see that match. That'll be good. Anywho, let's turn the attention back, putting the spotlight on this matchup. Vakir right now controlling Liv with the arm lock behind the back, picks the legs and takes down Morgan and sets her up for a suplex. Very nice maneuver there from Vakir, who is, as we say, now a former NXT North American and Women's Champion. The first, or one of the very few double champs NXT has ever had. Vakir, very confident in her abilities. Over the top she goes, connecting with the springboard crossbody as well. Morgan, though, she's taken a lot more time to flourish, to find herself here in her career as a pro wrestler. Realistically, nothing attained in NXT. It wasn't until she made her way to the main roster where she's found success. But you think of similar talent that's done that same thing. The likes of Alexa Bliss, for instance. Rope break there, called. I thought maybe we were going to see a surprise referee counting regardless of the hand on the rope, but Vaquer obviously did just land the defeat. Morgan trying to turn it around, go on the revenge tour, get redemption here by picking up a big time victory over Vaquer, but a boot connects and down with the knees. And another bloody superstar here tonight. We've already seen 2 in the previous match. Make it a 3rd here. And an Oblivion to follow it up. Oh my word. Liv starting the night early with that one. But yeah, it's interesting that Liv really has only found success on the main roster, as she's become this megastar. And her style, very explosive. She utilizes her stature very well. One of the smaller women in wrestling. She knows how to utilize it to avoid attacks. She's certainly put on a bit more muscle over the years, so she can provide some knockout shots as well. But as it stands, she's realistically a very solid wrestler and puts the... I can't really say what letter in her name that would work here, but she puts a C in crazy. And she's calling Vaquer up, but Vaquer catches her, taunting. Nice scoop and a slam. And coming through with a combination is Stephanie. But Liv catches Vaquer, sends her running, but Vaquer, wise to it, comes through. Takes the back, snap, German suplex. And down goes Liv Morgan. A super kick to follow it up. Vaquer is now finding her footing in this match. Tries to drop the body there onto Morgan, but Liv, wise to it, calling Stephanie into something. But that's an Oblivion from Vaquer. Word. Shayna Baszler's music again, chiming in. I forget who she interrupted before. Either way, she's getting involved here, and it's given Liv an opportunity to land her own Oblivion for a second time. Vaquer, she caught her with an Oblivion. But in the end, Liv trumps her. A distraction from Baszler. Sets up for victory. A great performance out of both women, I would say. But as it stands, Morgan takes firm control of the Gold League. 6 Joshi points. And a very comfortable spot on top. With that in mind, we will be moving over to the Pink League very soon. As this moment right here An oblivion from Vakir just out of nowhere. It was Morgan trying to seize an opportunity but could not do so. And then the distraction leads to the victory for Liv Morgan.
Here is your winner, Liv Morgan.
A great performance here from Morgan. Let's look towards our pink league, as it's going to be former world champion Will Ospreay taking on the king of the underground, Kurt Angle. This could be epic. A matchup that's going to be filled, I think, with shenanigans. Hopefully it isn't, actually. But it could well and truly happen. But as we set up ready for this match, who you got? Who's your favorite? Not just for this match, but for the entire tournament. Who will take it in the women's side and who will take it in the men's side? That sounds out of context pretty bad. Anywho, let's move over to bout number 3, our co-main event of the evening. Oh, as my nose gets itchy, so does my trigger finger on calling this match. As it's time in Long Island, New York. Here, I'm walking here. God, never make me do that again.
The following is scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring from England, weighing in at 220 pounds, Will Ospreay.
Ospreay. Here to fight here in the underground. Brings his unique style, the high-flying offense, and then that hidden blade in his arsenal. Capable of realistically anything. I personally think that we will have a banger of a bout. These two, they've got a very, very interesting record. But only one can take a dub here. And will it be the Olympic gold medalist? That is the question.
And his opponent from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 237 pounds, Kurt Angle.
Angle suffering his first loss here in IPW a few days ago via countout, though. He was unwavering in that bout, and it wasn't until John Moxley just decided, you know what, I've had enough of this, and sent him to the outside. That gave Moxley 2 points, but it did not set him out from the best, put him in a firm position in first. Instead, it keeps Angle in the runnings as we get underway here with this one. Ospreay coming out first with the strikes, up and over with the neck breaker. And this is something we expected to see. Is Ospreay firing on all cylinders, trying to just surprise Angle with the speed. But Kurt, he's slowing it down right now, which is wise. Trying to potentially set up for some submission offense. Ospreay turning it around. Some boots landing in the face of Angle. As they lock up for the first time here. Expect Angle to win out in this sort of exchange. His technical wrestling prowess far higher than what Ospreay brings to the table. As he's wrenching down right now on the neck of Ospreay. Will manages to grab the arm, reverse the pressure onto Angle's, pulling down, forcing Angle into an awkward situation. Nice STO from Ospreay. And the taunt to follow it up. He takes control of that situation. Tries to go through with a dropkick, but caught there by Angle, who's opting for an early pin. Only a 1 count off of that. Angle calling Ospreay back to his feet. These two tie up once again. Ospreay overpowering Angle was not something I expected to say here tonight, but the former undisputed champ, we know his arsenal, his game is very high risk. So when he brings it back down to the basics, it's always a nice change of pace. And that is something we're seeing here from Ospreay, is a little bit more technical wrestling prowess. As he takes the neck and drops Angle. Up onto his shoulders though. Angle though caught. Referee issuing the 10 count. But Ospreay hooking Angle up. Styles clash on the outside. Angle quickly trying to get back to his feet, but cannot do so without the assistance from Ospreay, who brings him back into the ring. Will sends Angle running. Tries to connect there with something, but Angle not going to allow it. Instead, Ospreay brings him to his shoulders, but can't connect as Angle just fights out of that grasp once more. Up and down spinebuster there from Angle. Ospreay calls the quarter, but that's a bad place to be because you're connected by that drop kick from Kurt. That was flush to the chest. It pushed Ospreay back in further to that turnbuckle. Oh my word. Angle locked in. The ankle lock. He's falling back into it. Ospreay in trouble here. Potentially gonna tap, but reversing pressure. Turning it around. Kicks his way out of the hold. Angle, though, done a number over Ospreay. That ankle lock will certainly set up Angle to slow down Ospreay's offense. And you think the moves that Ospreay needs to go for victory are very speed-based. The hidden blade is a charging back elbow. He has his high-risk maneuvers in terms of springboard offense and top rope offense. Angle really is a counter to Ospreay as the straps come down in favor of this wrestling machine who's hooked Ospreay up. Olympic slam! Down into the mat goes Ospreay. Angle dragging the lifeless corpse towards the center of the ring to potentially look for the ankle lock again, but Ospreay not going to allow it. Instead, rolls up Angle for a 2 count, forcing Angle to kick out. That was so close. Ospreay firing up. Is this where the tides change in favor of Ospreay? Double underhook to the shoulders. Storm breaker. planting Angle, and Ospreay's into the pin. Only a 2. I wasn't thinking victory there just yet, because Ospreay's damage done to Angle is minimal. Angle needs to slow down Ospreay again. Cheeky Nando's kick. Just plopping Angle back down to the mat. In target range for Ospreay's over the top, up and down with that DDT. And Angle's busted open. The blood mark, a target on the head of the Olympic gold medalist. One of which Ospreay will look to punish. Sends him crashing to the mat on the outside. Ospreay caught as Angle up to the top, tries to drop the axe, cannot do so. And Ospreay clobbering him. And now tossing him, no. Angle manages to stop it before it happens. And decides to make his way back into the ring just so he can break the count. Ospreay sending Angle into the stairs. Back and forth action here. Angle gets out the way of Ospreay potentially. Oh my word! Making that blood spot bigger. But that was gruesome. The backdrop suplex hitting the barricade. Angle is a machine. A deadly weapon. Ospreay being counted out. Oh my word. Breaks the count at 8. Into the ring he comes. A kick. A step up enziguri. Now some more strikes connecting. Angle though blocks one. Double underhook of his own. Ospreay reverses it into an arm drag and goes for the pin. Pulls the arm away from that rope. But it's not enough yet for the dub. Ospreay is feeling the frustration that the Olympic gold medalist is still firing on all cylinders. Deadlift German from Angle. As he hooks in an arm triangle. Too close to the rope though, and Ospreay's out of it. Can he get out of this? What is Angle looking for? Trying to potentially pick the ankle. Instead, he's caught with that Spanish Fly-esque maneuver. And Ospreay, he's calling his shot. Hidden blade connects and he's into the pin. 1, 2, no! We still roll forward. Angle's still in it. Connects with the lariat. Both men giving it their all here. Angle sends Ospreay into the ropes. Grabs a hold of him. And just tosses him. Plenty of pressure applied. Here by the Olympic gold medalist, who's finding an avenue to attack. Dropping Ospreay on the top rope. Ospreay back to his feet quite quickly. He's looking maybe for the end. He puts up the X. Sends Angle into the ropes. Leapfrog. Hurricane Rana. Oh my word, what it was Angle doing there. Whatever it was, it's not good for him as he's hooked up for the Styles Clash. Ospreay plants him. But somehow, Angle back to his feet quickly. Grabs a hold of him and just tosses him over the shoulders. Up to the top rope with the springboard moonsault. Cannot connect with it. Instead, Ospreay now fighting back. These two really are going shot for shot. But Ospreay flapjacking, and then nipping up after it. Angle, though, catching as he gets back to a vertical base. Ospreay reversing Angle's maneuvers, and he's calling for the end. The shot heard around the world. The hidden blade taking maybe another school in the favor of an assassin. And Ospreay victorious in this bout. Control over the Pink League in the Aerial Assassin's favor. This was arguably one of the best bouts so far in this tournament. Both men showing up and putting on a show. But this does cement Ospreay as a favorite in the tournament. And it does raise questions over Angle's legitimacy as a top star here in IPW. Failing to win 2 matches so far is interesting because he looked good in all his performances, but right now he's squandering it. Ospreay just took him to school in the end. The reversal timings out from Ospreay better than what Angle could offer. And that resulted in a couple of hidden blades connecting. And the school snatched from him. A great performance by both stars here in our co-main event. But this was only the co. How about we focus in on the main?
Here is your winner, Will Oxley.
Samoa Joe and The Rock will be in battle here in the main event. Battle of the Samoan Dynasty. Who will take it? We will see in a moment. Boy, I'm unsure of who will be victorious in this one as well. As you've got the world champion in action. As well as the People's Champ. Oh boy. A lot of decisions need to be made as to who will take it all here. So, let's find out who will actually get some nice points in the bank. As we welcome the People's Champ out first. Champion's advantage in favor of Samoa Joe grants him the secondary entrance. And that's never a good sign for The Rock, because he always wants to make his mark. He wants to have the crowd behind him before, well, after their opponents made the entrance. But now, he makes his slow walk to the ring. As a final boss. Has to beat the top dog in IPW.
The following is scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring from Miami, Florida, weighing in at 265 pounds, The Rock!
Rocky, confident in his strut, And he has all the right to be. Victorious in his opening bout of the tournament. In a victory literally yesterday against CM Punk. The Rock is going back to back in terms of action, which is honestly unheard of. With that in mind though, he looks to have no scratches on him. He looks in the prime of his career. Whether or not he peters out in this match is a different question. The People's Champ, here for the people. And here to put on the most electrifying match he could possibly do. Coming into tonight, The Rock has been untested in IPW. He now goes against the second ever two-time undisputed World Heavyweight Champion, Samoa Joe. As the fires burn on the Titantrons, the champion makes his presence known.
And his opponent from Huntington Beach, California, weighing in at 282 pounds, the undisputed World Heavyweight Champion, the Samoan Joe.
Joe, we know, can bring it to anyone. Submission specialist, without a doubt, one of the most prolific victors in all of competition. Looking to make his title reign, well, he will make his title reign longer than his previous one. We get underway. The main event. Two big Samoans battling it out. The Rock and Samoa Joe competing here. Nice arm lock. Gets reversed here by Joe. And the pressure being applied once again over. Brings The Rock down to a knee. Just yanking on it makes it hard for Rock to really get any form of offense. Gets tossed there and they tie up once again. Joe continuing the pressure, but Rock this time gets a favorable position and applies his own form of pressure down onto Samoa Joe. Joe reverses in the position, taking control, applying more pressure down onto the arm. Takes out the leg as well. That's great offense there from Samoa Joe. He's calling The Rock back to his feet, connecting with the lariat. Drops him down. Now Joe gets to work over the ground and pound onto Rocky. Rock back to a vertical base. Ties up once again with Joe. Joe forces him into the corner, looking for a clean break. And does try to give it, but Rock ducks the punch. Actually, it was more of a dirty break. Joe, Irish whip, reversed, Rock sends him to the outside and drops him to the floor. As these two spill the action to the outside. Both men really showing a lot of resilience, a great set of offense in the early goings, a lot of reversals. It's Joe reversing the offense here, taking control. A couple of drop downs and then a chop. Drops the Rock, follow it up with a running big boy arm. That's a shoulder drop. Elbow drop, I should say, not shoulder. Don't know why I called it that. Anyway. Joe. Surfboard stretch here onto the Rock, looking for the submission dub early. Fighting out of it is Rocky. Up and over, ebb and flow DDT. Cannot connect maybe as Joe fights out of it. Ducks the line though. And Joe dropped here by Rock. Rock firing some big shots into Samoa Joe. And brings him down with a spine buster. Both men really giving it their all here. But The Rock right now drops the elbow pad. Is it people's elbow time? The most electrifying move in all of sports entertainment avoided as The Rock cannot connect, instead sent over the top rope. He does manage to get a shot back into Joe. Joe able to evade most of it until The Rock mounts him, drops the shots, and now Rock calling, sizing up Joe. But for what? Side slam, no. Joe's knees connect and drop The Rock with that follow-up lariat. Joe now. Thought maybe Coquina Clutch was going to come through. The Rock fights out of it. Beginning his assault. Actually going to call Joe to his feet on the outside. An interesting choice. Irish whip from The Rock. Sends Joe running. Arm drag into, side rush and leg sweep from The Rock. He opts for the pin here. Gets a 2 count. Oh my word, that's a combination and a half from Joe. Now he's connecting a 2K comeback, a couple of lariats, ducks the line, over and down with the power slam. The Rock in trouble. As Joe once again may have been thinking Coquina Clutch, no, gut wrench up to the shoulders and brings him down. Almost a cutter-esque maneuver. Pinfall attempt through, and it's a 2 count in favor of Joe. Roll up here. The Rock sneaking victory maybe. A 2 count. Joe manages to kick out. The lariat ducked. Rock. The fist, the spit punch. Connect. Joe staggered. Sent. Nice toss there from Rock as he sets Joe up for the most electrifying move in all of sports entertainment. The People's Elbow connects and the pinfall follows suit for a 2 count. Rocky taking his time, taking control, hooking Joe up here. Sharp shooter, imminent. It's locked in. And the submission specialist might be submitted. No. Rock breaks the hold. Opting to look for something else here. And I think it's the same most electrifying move in all sports entertainment. This time, the other shoulder pad comes down, and The Rock leaping over to drop the people's elbow for a second time. Into the pin he goes, and he secures the victory against the world champ. Oh my, I can't really call it an upset, as The Rock's career sets him as a top star. But let's be honest, Joe, he's dominant in singles matches. This is his first big loss in a singles match. So, how, well, we kind of have to feel maybe the final boss wants to be the final boss and champion here in IPW. The most electrifying undisputed champion in all of IPW does have a ring to it. It sounds pretty cool. And maybe something in the pipeline now that The Rock has secured a big victory over the current champ. We will have to see what IPW management does in that regard. That's not the focus right now, because that was our main event. Now in the books, we begin obviously tonight the second rotation of battles. The Rock going back to back here tonight. It's a big victory in its own right. But this can lead us on a very, very fun road now, as this division is a whole lot closer. Joe losing, the champion not atop of this league. The Rock 6 points, taking control. Who will maintain control here in IPW? Hi, it's me again. I'm here to round out tonight's show by running us down Saturday's very beautiful card. And it is kicking off in the green division. Braun Breaker versus the phenomenal AJ Styles. That will be explosive. That will be a brawl, and it will be epic. A matchup I can't wait to see. Speaking of can't wait to see, the Shield clash, as it's Jon Moxley taking on Roman Reigns. The winner takes a nice seat atop of the Pink League, outside of Will Ospreay obviously winning today. Following that up, we head to the women's division. Jasmine Nix, Natalya in the Teal League, both looking to secure their first 3 points in competition here towards the Showdown. Only one can do it. And then lastly, the main event of that show on tomorrow, Saturday. It's Giant versus Little Miss Bliss. It's Nia Jax versus Alexa. That's going to be an epic battle between two former friends turned rivals. But yeah, that is going to be an epic showcase. Let's hope it delivers tomorrow. Again, it'll be an earlier stream, as we kind of have to. But we'll round out this week with more epic bouts. Sunday, I'm looking at the card right now. It is full of epic battles, to be honest. But I won't run down that card until tomorrow, so I'll see you then.